We have amazing timing on these balance patch hopefuls videos. Every time we post one, a couple hours later, comment was like, here's the balance patch. 5 of the units from the hopefuls video are in the balance patch. Everything else is random. So I expect about the same for this month's balance patch. It's by the time you're watching this, the balance patch is already out. Anyway, let's get it started. We're doing things a little bit differently this month. We are going based on your feedback from the balance patch poll, because I feel like usually we do the same thing. It's like, hey, this unit still needs to be buffed. This unit still needs to be buffed. This time, come to us if they want to look at this. They have actual data to go with. I mean, they could have also looked at the other one, but we put these in order, starting at 40%. So the things that 40% of you voted for needing a buff and above. And we did these all in order. So 40, 41, 42, 43%. And we'll go from there. There's one that 80% of you said it needed to be buffed, which if 80% of the populace think it needs to be buffed, that means it needs to be buffed. Come to us. I don't know how they're going to argue their way around that one. They're like, no, we feel it's in a good spot. Like, no, you're full of yourselves. Anyway, I did want to mention something else that we usually don't talk about is a quality of life improvement that I think would be great. The more I've been thinking about this for a bit now, and the more I think about it, the more I'm like, this really needs to be in the game. Comtos can actually make a lot of money from this. So we have every blessing but this. Consider this an LD4 blessing. There's so many Hall of Heroes units. Every time you pop an LD4 and you get lightning, I know they're few and far between, the lightnings, but just getting Hall of Heroes after Hall of Heroes after Hall of Heroes over and over and over again, very frustrating. The longer the game lasts, the more this is going to happen, and people are just going to be getting all Hall of Heroes units because that's how that works. So just having a blessing for this, and Comtois loves to put things in packs and sell and make more money, and this they could put them in packs and sell and make more money. So I feel like this is a great opportunity for them to sell more stuff, but also a great opportunity for people to maybe get something that could give them a new unit, right? And there's not too many of those for people that have been playing for a decade. There's not too many options for new units out there. So let's get it started. First one, this is not a buff. This comes to us, dude. This is not a buff. This is the one that there was only one that was over 40% of the populace said he needed nerf, and this was that. It's not Oliver anymore. It's not the LD Occult Girls. It's this unit, Window Kebi Lord. So it's wild that one of the newer units, actually enough people think that he needs a nerf, but 7.2% think he needs a buff. His damage mitigation is really solid. He can do some decent AoE damage as well with the skill too. So should probably build mine. It's been there. I've been trying to fuse the skill ups for it. But anyway, let's get it started. So Shazam, 40.4. I noticed there's another Beast Monk, Ritesh, out here with 40.4 again. Ariana Light Pudding Princess, 40.5. I feel like these ones you go either way. Like, these units aren't unusable. 40% of the populace say they need a buff, but also there's a lot of people that are going to say everything needs a buff regardless. As we just saw here, there are people that will say everything needs a buff. I'm sure there's people that are like, buff Oliver, buff whatever. There's always people, no matter what it is, no matter how OP it is, they're like, it needs to be buffed. It's around his 40.7. It's the increased cooldowns really, the increased cooldown meta really made this unit hurt. So yeah, it's sad to see, because he was so much better, but you know, the meta changed. Like Geralt, I think this is wild. I know he's less, but this is just such an OP unit. I would like you don't want your Light Geralts or Geralts or whatever. I'll take this off here. We watch this. It's ridiculous. It can potentially just keep doing skill 2 over and over and over again. This is a potentially ridiculous unit. So yeah, I disagree with this. I disagree with some of these. Christina, I'm not a huge fan of Christina, but I know people like to use her for that Leo Delphoy, Galleon, Christina arena offense. Eladriel, I could definitely see this. 41. Light Twin Angels. Personally, I forgot what they do. I'll be honest. Dark Twin Angels, again, forgot what they do. But they're kind of low on the list, right? 43%. It's still 43% think it needs a buff, but you know, it's nothing compared to, I think Comtos really needs to focus on things that are like 60% need a buff. We got Momo, 43.3. I think the easiest thing to do with Momo is just make it immune to CC. And then that would get more use regardless. Mephisto, I do not think that this needs a buff. He does something that not everything can do. Hathor, I think you guys are wild for thinking Hathor needs a buff. 44% of you are like, yeah, the Gani Hathor meta needs to come back. It does not need to come back. Thank you very much. You put that in Hathor in storage, and you never take it out, because we don't need that nonsense again for like years. We had that stupid meta. Jaeger. I think Jaeger's pretty decent, but, you know, not everyone agrees with me. Katarina does not need a buff. Katarina, I use Katarina all the time, not as a joke, not as a meme. Katarina is a good unit. I'm sorry, but I'm also not that sorry. Katarina is a good unit. That does not need a buff. 44.8%. You just got to use her correctly. You can't use her in everything, but you got to use her correctly. Water Twin Angels. This, I don't feel like needs a buff either, because people are using this in RTA. On a regular basis, it's got the speed lead. I don't feel like this needs a buff. I think people just want everything buffed. Wind Hacker. We saw him. He seemed like he was pretty good in certain situations. He's not for everything, but I think maybe I should, before I give my input on this, take a look at him again. Thabay. I've seen Thabay do some crazy stuff, doing AoE nonsense nukes over and over and over again. I don't know if it's the violent runes that were the culprit. Probably it was the violent runes that were the culprit, but he's definitely gotten better over time. Barbara. Leo just being so prevalent is, you know, Leo and other things make, like Miles versus Barbara. What would you rather use? Miles. I would rather use Miles, but yeah. Barbara is still, like, she didn't change. She didn't get worse. She actually got better, but just the meta is so Leo heavy and everything else is, you know, outspeeding her. So Kumar, I think, is a decent unit. I don't really think he needs a buff. Water Indra, I think, is a great unit. I don't think he needs a buff. Some people think he needs a nerf. So yeah, I disagree with that. Water Series, she's a unit that people are using. I feel like if people are I don't know if it's changed over the past couple of weeks, but I know people were using her regularly in RTA in certain comps. So I don't know. I think people are just getting ahead of themselves here. Like, test the units, play with the units, put it in the right spots. Phrasing, okay. Fire Pudding Princess. This is a unit that counters the control meta. Maybe some people haven't played around with her recently. She did get buffed to be anti-control, or at least anti-tech age decrease. I think that Comtos did a good job of buffing her to fit that role. I've seen some people use her very effectively. So if you don't use her, I think a lot of these people either don't do RTA, in which case they really don't have much of a use for her, or don't have her build, haven't tried her. So, but I think she's really as an RTA counter unit more than anything else. So take that. If you don't play RTA, you're really not going to get much value out of that. What else do we have? Angela, Wind Pudding Princess. I can't remember the last time I used this, to be honest. Beth, I think is good. I just missed the heal block, but yeah, I think this is a little much because I think this unit's still usable. Maybe some more attack age decrease. Water Mercenary Queen. I'm not a huge fan. I keep trying her, and I'm like, I'm going to like her more. No. I'm going to like her more. No. Some people really like her. Some people think she needs a nerf. Y'all wild. I just don't think she's... I don't know. I personally don't think she's that crazy. I have her. I tried her. I built her. At least on one account. I might have her built on multiple accounts. Not a huge fan. Liliana, Dark Devil Maiden. I forgot what this unit does. We're at the 50s now. 50%. Bludja, she actually does quite a lot of dots. I don't think this unit needs a buff. I think you guys need to test it out more. If you like Rika, if you want Rika, she's like Rika. She does a lot of dots. So I wonder if maybe I might put her even above Rika right now. Yeah, try her out. I think she might even work well without skill ups. I think casual players could use her more than they are. Water Yennefer, this is a unit that I've seen people use this very effectively in RTA. I don't think that it necessarily needs a buff because they were using it very effectively. Trinity, I know it's always the Trinity Samath argument, but yeah, she's on there for sure. Dark Geralt, I don't remember what he does. Why do I not remember? I don't remember what half the LD. It's the newer LDs. I don't remember what they do. Like, we did videos on him and then I forgot. So Sigmarus is not for everything. He's for dungeons. He's for TOA. He's for bosses that have high HP. that for what he does, that's what he's supposed to do. He's not supposed to be great for everything. He's supposed to be there for PvE against high HP bosses and CC. What else? Fire Macaron Guard. I think if she... Like, as soon as you start controlling her, and as soon as you start, like, increasing cooldown or stun her, like, she doesn't do what you want her to do. But, yeah. You need to actually... If you can get it off, it can be very frustrating. But if you can't, then she doesn't do much. Could be, like, a passive integration might be nice for her. Rocky, I don't think she needs a buff. I think she's a good unit. I disagree. Shocker, Wind Indra. I'm gonna not really comment too much on this. The last time we played with him, I wasn't really a huge fan. I saw some comments where they were like, "Oh, you gotta ruin him just like very fast, very tanky, not as a damage dealer. Just go for the pure damage, the extra damage in his passive." So we're gonna try it with that, but yeah, kind of like a Miles situation. Instead of ruining it as a damage dealer, just ruin it fast and tanky. So we'll see. Borgnine. This is really only for niche situations, kind of like the Fire Pudding Princess. Is a niche situation thing. So if people don't play that content, I could see why they wouldn't like the unit. Like, I could see him in Siege and for Interserve Arena, but aside from that, I wouldn't really use him for much. He's definitely got better, though. Raoul, I will let the Raoul owners speak for that. Altair, Frederick, Light Dual Blade. It's just if he was easier to use, if he was either turn 1 or turn 2, right now he's in like a weird spot of... He's not really great for either, because he needs to be protected. So, yeah. I would love to see him use more. Like, I can argue for Sigmaris and Katarina and things like that. It's like, okay, they're fusion units. They're not supposed to be great for everything necessarily. But I'm like, I never feel like I would want to use this. I always just would prefer using something else. So, I think that's a problem. Water Geralt. I don't think this needs a buff at all. This is good for... Maybe a buff to skill 2, like to the activation rate. And maybe you could say the same thing about the light one. But yeah, these units are good for dungeons. You put him in dragons. He's awesome for dragons. So I don't... People need to use him. I don't know why people are not using him or not scaling up or what the situation is. Or if you just get him and then you put him in storage, you're like, he's bad. Like, did you not use him and then put him in storage for nothing? Like, anytime I have been going on people's account, I'm not going on people's... Just stop emailing me. Stop emailing me. For some videos that have been posted, some videos that have not been posted, basically some of the videos where I tinker around with their teams and things like that. Stop emailing me. Stop emailing me. I can see that you're emailing me. Stop emailing me. We put this in some people's dragons. Stop emailing me. You're still writing the email. Why are you still doing that? We put these in some dragons teams, and he does great. He always does great. So I think that if you're not liking him, you probably haven't used him. He's also great in TOA. He's a solid unit. He does not need to be triple S tier. He is good for what he does. So Fire Geralt. Fire Geralt was pretty good too. Not for the same situation, but I don't feel like he needs to be... Like, he's not the one that needs the most attention. Bale. We just did a video on Bale. I've seen him used effectively. I've also seen him used not as effectively. It's RNG. That's really what it is. It's RNG. But anything that has the block cleanse, people don't really feel too fondly about. There are some uses for it, but for the most part, people don't feel too fondly about it. Wind Macaron Guard. I can't remember the last time I used her. I'm pretty sure we have one fully skilled up, but I never use it. Maybe we should. But there's a lot of units that are similar to this that I just don't use. Surefire Desert Warrior. Well, we could have a better indication of how good he possibly is. He's a fire bruiser. He's a fire HP bruiser. He's got a skill 3. He heals. He does multi-hits defense breaks. 61% people say they don't like him how he is, think he needs a buff. That's 2/3 of the people that have him, or 2/3 of the people that were pulled. I don't know if they have him or don't have him, but because there's nothing to check. Like, if you have that unit, we're not like checking JSON files or anything. So... yeah, 2/3 of the people say he needs a roughly 2/3, not exactly 2/3, but think he needs a buff. Fire Yennefer is the one that does. I forget already. What did she do? I should know this. Yeah, whatever. 2/3 think she needs a buff. Maybe she doesn't. Maybe she does need a buff because I already forgot what she does. I'm thinking the Fire Triss, but I know she's not the Fire Triss, like the AoE attack gauge decrease and brand. But that's the Fire Triss. Eleni Wind Gladiatrix does not need a buff. We already played around with her. The Wind Siri needs a buff. The Wind Siri is just like this, but the bad version. Wind Gladiatrix just flat out better. Flat out better in everything than Wind Siri. Irene Water Devil Maiden. So let's think about it. I think if it just doesn't go on cooldown, if you can't trap it in the briefcase, in that monster suitcase, if you can't trap it, it shouldn't go on cooldown. You should be able to use it the next turn if you fail. So, because RNG destroys this unit. If she doesn't land it, she is useless. So, yeah. And then maybe skill 2 change again, because they already did change skill 2. But Patrick 5 Steel Commander, valid. I feel like this is accurate. He needs a buff. He needs something. We were talked about in other videos. Wind Twin Angels, I don't remember what these do. I mean, they do different stuff. There's many things that these do. Many more on the mild side that these do. They're not. That Twin Angel, I had people complaining about the Twin Angels in general on here. So, Comtos can do what they want with that. Kashmir, I think he absolutely needs a buff. I just have always been disappointed using Kashmir. I'm always like, man, let's try this thing again. Nope, bad idea. Like, how is Lucian still, like, this is what Katarina doesn't need a buff because they have things like Kashmir, and then it's like, well, Katarina could just do 15 times as much as Kashmir does. Kashmir is just really good at disappointing people. Venton, Fire Indra, I think he got a buff in the last balance patch. We didn't even try him since then, if I recall correctly. Right? I don't know. Why am I yelling at you? Right? You guys like, I don't remember. I don't know what you do, what videos. I don't either. Nobody knows. We're getting up there, guys. Look how blue this is. Blue means needs a buff. You probably figured that out by now. Yeah, 3/4 of the people polled think this needs a buff. This absolutely needs a buff. No question about it. We're almost at the end because I can see 73. 77. Jeez. And this is not even the one people said was the worst. But it's pretty up there. 77.1% think that this is a bad unit and needs a buff. You are correct. I think the red, because the red is mostly fine, or if you have no opinion, either way. 22% might just not have an opinion. This could be like 99 and the other people just don't have an opinion at all. Yeah, this is just so bad. Like, what? It's like not even a 3-star. It's like a 2-star unit. That's how bad this unit is. It's a 2-star. Oh, man, he needs like 5 buffs. No, wait. 3 buffs. All right. Fire Twin Angels. Yep, I agree with this. I don't like that unit. We got it. This is the only Twin Angels we got multiple times. I don't like this unit. 79.3% needs a nerf. Who thinks this needs a nerf? You haven't played with it. And the worst unit of all. This is the big disappointment. See, these people, they just like to cause trouble. Needs a nerf. It does not need a nerf. Wind Geralt. He's bad. And that's the end of that conversation. Again, this 18.6% could be just no opinion either way. So these are the actual predictions. Same poop, different toilet. Don't expect anything. You'll still be disappointed regardless. Random Nat 4 family buff. I didn't even change some of these things from the last time. It's the same thing because I feel like it's probably close to being accurate. Sylphid Ninja, Phantom Thief, Undyne, Ninetales. Actually, the Undynes got buffed recently. A couple patches ago, right? 2-3 patches ago. Random old Nat 5 family buff. Hopefully Archangel or Beast Monk. I know they started tweaking the Archangel a little bit, so we'll see if they continue tweaking. More packs, of course. Minor buffs to newer units, but nothing too strong. I don't know. I'm hoping for a great balance patch, but you know when was the last great balance patch? Exactly. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Fingers crossed, I guess, but I'm not holding my breath. That's it for this one. See you as always in the next one.